Sweet man. Well, Chris, it's been great to talk to you, man. I know we've connected in the past. It's great to have you on now. Would love to just kick off by hearing your story, man, and then we can talk some recruiting. I know you're working with some massive businesses. I know you've placed tons and tons of reps. So talk to me, man. How did you get into the remote sales space? How did you get into recruiting?
Dude, I saw a huge gap in the market. So I was working for Grant Cardone and I sold 30 million for him in 3.5 years as a salesperson. And I reached a point where I just wanted to get better and expand my responsibility. And, being a salesperson is great, right? You can make a lot of money very, very fast, but true freedom comes in ownership, right? And so once I mastered the sales game, then I knew it was time for me to take the next step. And I always knew that was the plan. I didn't know what I wanted to do because I'm not good at marketing. I mean, I don't know tech. I don't know marketing. I don't know a bunch of business stuff. All I know is sales. So I know salespeople, I know closing, I know setting, and I didn't really know recruiting, honestly. I didn't know anything about recruiting. I've actually never interviewed anybody in my life for a job before starting my recruiting business.
Okay.
So
So
the only reason
what
why I
made you
started is because
wanna,
I'm good at
yeah, go
sales.
ahead.
Go
Yeah, so
ahead,
you
sorry.
so you went from sales to the recruiting role. Why that switch? Most people they either want to jump, especially after selling 30 million, they want to jump into like sales management, maybe they jump into sales coaching because they feel like, hey, I've really got something here. Why was recruiting the pivot for you?
Well, it's a funny thing because I've had many opportunities to do management and run teams and be a manager or be a director or run a sales team. But the only problem is that the opportunity to be that manager was not good enough for me to sacrifice. Like the opportunity cost wasn't high enough. It's a long-term play, right? And each
Hmm.
person has their own route, what they want to go in their life. Me, it's not always about money. I mean, I've made millions of dollars in sales and millions of dollars in income, but for me, it was okay. Now that I mastered this sales game, what else can I do? And I always knew that once I can master sales, then I'd be able to do anything in business. And um, really that's the main reason is because the opportunity just the long-term play for me, it wasn't gonna happen fast enough what I wanted to actually happen because my income went like this and I didn't want it to go like this and then kind of grow like that. I wanted to go like this and then when I left and started my own business, I start from here, but I could still grow like this. I don't have to grow with somebody else in control.
Hmm. So you want to just kind
And
of
that
start
gives me
your own
more
thing.
responsibility and more clarity on what I want to do. Plus, I wouldn't be able to do
Okay.
this interview with you right now if that was the case.
Fair enough. Taking it back even further, how did you come to land a sales job with Grant Cardone?
So I was man, it was back in 2018. I saw an Instagram video of him and I was working construction at the time, making $1,000 a month, dead broke, trying to make ends meet. And in 2019, he hosted a really big conference in Miami. And my buddies and I, we flew out there for the event. This is my first time ever going to a big city. I come from a very small town, um, and there's really not much there, right? So me flying down to Miami was like a complete eye opener for me. And as soon as I landed in Miami, I just knew that that was the place that I needed to be. And at that moment when I went to the event, I made the decision. I'm like, dude, I'm moving here to Miami. Whatever it is, I'm gonna do it. And a few years go by, and this was mid-COVID. I saw a post online that Grant Cardone was hiring sales reps. I applied, got an interview, completely screwed up the entire interview. They didn't want to hire me. So I flew down 2 times to go down to their office in person to just knock on their door and be like, yo, my name's Chris. I'm here. Let's work. Well, it was during COVID and the office was shut down both times that I went, so I wasn't able to meet with them. And so um, after that, after a bunch of no's, they didn't want to hire me. They didn't want to hire me. I was underqualified for the job. Completely understand their viewpoint on that because I was underqualified. And I flew down a third time to actually do a real interview, and I didn't leave until I got the job. I
Okay.
stayed, and
When you
I
say you
just stayed
stayed,
there, and
like you stayed in the office? Or
Yeah,
you just
like
stayed
we
in the
did the
city?
interview. The interview was 2 minutes. It was a super short interview. They didn't want to hire me, and I'm like, yo, like I'm here. Like I'm ready to work right now. And to the point where they were like, okay, I got to the HR manager's office. I pushed my way in there, and I'm like, dude, I want this now. And she said, how soon can you start? And as soon as she said that, I knew I was in. I was like, we freaking got it done. And that night, I drank a shit ton of alcohol. Not what kind of alcohol? It was Long Island's. I went to the bar at the airport because I thought I just completely bombed everything and just lost the biggest opportunity of my life. So I went to the airport, had a few drinks, and I land from the airport, got a missed call. It was the voicemail of the HR saying, "Hey, we'd like to accept your position." And I was like, "Holy shit." 1 month later, I moved down and gave everything that I had to that company.
And how did it go? Like month one, going from construction to now jumping into sales, it's kind of different. What did month
Yeah,
one
it
look
was
like for you?
it was very different. I mean, beforehand, so I got into sales and I started selling cars for 2 years, and so I was selling cars at the time before I worked for Grant, and I really didn't do that well selling cars. The only reason why I sold cars is just because I was young, good looking, and I have a good energy, right? So people would just buy based off my energy. Now, um, the switch was kind of crazy because I'm always a hard worker. Like I just
Mhm.
work. I'm always down to work. And I didn't get a deal for my entire first month. So I was making 300 plus calls a day, not a single deal. Finally got my first deal a month in. 6 months in, I was near the tail end of my career there because my stats were falling and they weren't up to par. So I was like right there to, having that final talk, like, hey, you need to produce or else you're gone. And that was the switch for me, man. Ever since then, my stats were going up. My first year I did 2 mil. Second year I did around 4 mil. And then the third year I did around uh 5 mil in contracts, and that's net revenue. And that's just on the Cardone University side where it's sales training packages. There's also a ton of other products as well, like events, different companies that we're helping out as well.
Mhm.
So all combined gross was about 30 million total on my production, which was
And what
pretty insane.
and what shifted? Because you said you were, working hard, obviously putting in the time, putting in the dials, and then going from almost getting fired to then producing 2 million next year. What's shifted?
Yeah, so I never wanted to let anybody down. And also, I never wanted to have anybody write about me. So when I moved down to Miami, all of my friends, so-called friends, family members, they're like, hey, if it doesn't work out, it's no problem. You could just move back here, or, and there's, dude, when you're in a high performing sales job, no matter where it is, there's a bunch of people that come and go, right? And I never wanted to be
Mhm.
that guy. I always wanted to make a name for myself. And I believe I did that. And my biggest purpose was I'm not going back home. I'm not going back home and creating an excuse on why it didn't work out. That's just not me. Like, I refuse to go back home and be one of those guys that tried to make it happen and fail and then create some sort of excuse on why it's okay to be average. And so that was really the motivation. So I mean, for the first year and a half, I was working 12, 14-hour days, 6, 7, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. This was the first one there, last one to leave every single day.
Okay, so you're
And that's
just
just what it
grinding it
takes.
out.
Yeah, dude, just grinding it out, man. And the thing is that that's the biggest mistake that salespeople make is that they're not willing to put in the work. They see all this stuff on Instagram that you can make 30 grand a month working from your computer, working 4 hours a day, but it's just simply not true. It's true once you master the skill and you get really great at it, you can do that, but you have to put in the work beforehand before you actually get there. And that's the thing that people miss. They forget that it's an actual job, it's a career, it's a lifestyle, and you have to create your life around being that type of salesperson you want to be,
Mm,
you know?
100%.
And I trained like a madman. So every single day I was just soaking up as much sales training as I possibly could.
And what did that training look like? Was it just watching videos? Was it role plays? Like, what do you think actually made you better?
Yeah, it was Cardone University. Cardone University, that sales training, and then also the sales management there. So, when you're joining a team, you always got to look at the leaders and you got to make sure that they resonate and you resonate with some of their beliefs, right? I'm I'm the kind of guy where I want the hardest thing in the world and I'll take it head on. And that's the kind of challenge I like. And so, if you're joining a sales team, and you're the number one performer and you want to do better and the sales manager is kind of lazy or laid back, you want to get away from that company as soon as possible because that sales manager is really going to hold you back from growing to your highest potential.
Mhm. And in what
Truly.
way would you say the sales managers you had helped you?
Just with push, effort, grinding. And what it takes to be a great leader is never being satisfied because the moment a rep does good, that's the moment you need to be on them even more. You don't want to let off the brakes when your sales rep is doing really, really good. The more money that you make inside of a business, the more that sales manager and ownership and executive team needs to be on you to produce more. Because the moment you let the foot off the gas, that's when you can lose everything. It's just a month away where you can lose it all.
Mm. So you had
You
good
know?
leadership that was pushing you constantly.
Exactly. And that formed me into a great leader, truly. Now I have a team of 4 people that work for me full time. I'm hiring a fifth person next week. And, I have them train every day. We do meetings every day, very coordinated. I'm very on top of them every day. We have group chats blowing up all day. And that's what it takes. And that's what actually could create a long-term company is the amount of force and effort that you put to actually create an effect on your people. Because
And what does that
the
look like?
lazier you are as a leader, the worse your team's going to follow your exact steps.
100%. 100%. What does that kind of organization look like? You and four people, are they all recruiters? What does that look like?
Yeah, so all my team's recruiters. So the beautiful thing about my business is that, my tickets are pretty high. So as of right now, I don't really need a sales team. Um, right now I'm doing about Right now, I'm doing about 50K plus a month cash collected, which is good. I've been in business for a year. I've averaged that for the last 12 months, 30 to 50K. And we're about to launch ads and add a bunch of people to the team. And I dialed in all the delivery. So that way, for remote recruiters or for companies that want remote salespeople, they can get people within the next 1 to 2 days. Rather than it taking 14 days, I want to get it done as fast as possible.
Okay, so that's your philosophy, getting them good talent quickly.
Yeah, man. I want to get stuff done fast. I'm sure you could tell by the way I
I could
talk.
tell. I remember
Yeah.
even when I first connected with you on Instagram, you were just like, "What's your number? I'll give you a call right now."
Yeah, let's go, dude.
Everything was
Like time.
fast.
Dude, time is the biggest thing, man. It's a very valuable thing and the more you spend focusing and not doing something, the longer it's going to take for you to actually hit your target. So, whether it's something you literally don't want to do, like for example, I have a game plan of what I need to do today, and I write all the things that I don't want to do first. That way I can just get it done and out of the way.
And what
And
it's
then everything
starting
else is super
the
easy.
yeah, what it's starting the recruiting company look like? Because you obviously you left the sales job. Now you're just like, all right, I'm a recruiter now. So how did you get your first clients?
Bro, it was amazing. I shout out to my Instagram. Um my Instagram, it I had a great following. So, the previous company I work for doesn't appreciate this, but it's what needs to happen. So, what you need to do is if you're a salesperson and you have goals of starting your own business long term, what you need to do is you need to build your social media around the company that you're working for to expose your brand. And you need to become one with that company. Now, having Instagram followers is a complete right of an American, right? You have every right to get followers. Now, if you transition, you can then have those followers follow your journey the entire route to wherever you want to go. And I was talking to my lawyer about this, and she's like, hey, it's like a donut shop and a bakery. Two different things. You have someone selling donuts and you have someone selling a bakery, selling bread, right? If somebody leaves that donut shop and opens a bakery right next door, you have 100% right to expand your business however you want. Now, if that person left that donut shop and started another donut shop right next to it, that would be a problem, right? So it's an interesting thing because if that donut shop person opened up a bakery, or let's say they opened up a sports facility, and all those donut shop people were like, hey, you know what? I want to eat donuts and I want to, uh, work out at a gym, right? The beauty of Instagram and using social media is that you're expanding to the world. You're talking to the world. So my first 10 months in business, I didn't spend a single dollar on advertising. Well, I did spend a little bit of money on advertising, but the advertising did not work. I failed a lot of times on ads. But now I got it dialed in the right way, and we're getting some good deals on advertising. But all it took was just a couple Instagram posts. I'm very thankful for my network, and I'm very thankful for the people that follow me and my connections and the relationships that I built. And the beauty of Instagram is that you can post anything you want whenever you want, you know. And so as soon as I left, I posted a video, bang, got a lot of traction, started boom, every single person. Uh, I'd ask them, boom, we do business, then I get a referral. Business, referral, business, referral, business, referral. So every single client call that I had, hey man, thank you so much. Who else do you know? Oh, I know John. Boom, I sign up John. John, who do you know? Oh, I know Bob. Bob, who do you know? I know Sandra, whatever her name is, right? So it's just the power of social media is really, really it. And that's why I believe that growing a social media presence is really, really huge. No matter what you're doing, you need to grow your social media and just put stuff out there, man, because people want to see it.
100%. I've said this a lot to reps that their brand is super important. Even when they're on offers, they can bring in business for the offer they're on. They can bring in business for whatever they do next, just like what you're saying you did. So, how did you go about building your brand and building your network while on an offer? Were you making like sales training tips or like what kind of content did you put out?
Yeah, it's all on my Instagram, but yeah, I mean, I was just posting. Like I was posting, I was collaborating, I was constantly in communication with people. One of the biggest things is I can't really speak on it, but it's all on my Instagram. But the biggest thing, the biggest thing is client delivery. So I have a rule, and the first 24 hours after a client signs up with you is everything. And your first 24 hours with that client is the difference between you having a great client and a bad client. And so if a customer pays you, you want to make sure you're on top of your game for the first 24 hours to make sure that that person is going to get delivered on because that person just sent you 10 grand. And if you go ghost for 24 hours, boom, trust is lost right there. So whenever a client pays me money, I always do my best, my very, very best. I'm not a perfect person. I don't do it 100% of the time, but I do my best to deliver at the highest standard within the first 24 hours. So that way, throughout our entire partnership and relationship, they know I'm going to get stuff done, right away. There's no delay in anything that I do. And I do my best at it. I'm not the best at it. I'm not perfect, right? I messed up a lot of times. I've had a lot of failures, had a lot of complaints. A lot of people weren't happy, but it's all about growing. And I always do my best to make things go right. So even if I sign up a client and it doesn't go well, I still always look for ways to make it go right. So that way a client can at least use those services that they paid for, whether it's with me, whether it's another service that I have, whether it's sales training, whether it's coaching, whether it's mentorship, whether it's this, that, and this. I want to make sure that client gets delivered on whatever it is. That way there's some sort of exchange. And when they tell people, they say, "Oh yeah, I dealt with this guy Chris, you know, it wasn't able to work. He wasn't able to get us a good salesperson, or whatever the reason is, right?" But they can always lead with, "Yeah, he did everything he can to make it go right." Right? Yeah, we signed up with him, but we just weren't in a position to actually service and get a salesperson. Like the business wasn't at a point, but he did a good job. He did everything he could, and it's really not his fault. He tried his best and he did everything he can to make things go right. That's the impression that I want to leave on people because one bad client can ruin everything, you know? And, you know, I'd rather have a client pay and have me refund him if he's just a horrible client versus, you know, just creating emotional communication and conversation for no absolute reason.
100%.
So
100%.
I
So
always, I always do my best to make things go right. I've had clients pay me where they pay me 5 or 10 grand and I deliver and I'm sending them reps and I'm sending them people. And the next thing you know, they just go ghost. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like I emailed, I called, I texted, and no answer, no refunds, just nothing. I'm like, okay, well, at least I did everything I could to deliver. I'm following up on a guy right now. He paid me 6 grand and then just no communication. I'm like, yo, bro, like I need to service you. Like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, let me talk to my team. I'm like, dude, like, let's go. Like, bro, you paid me, dude. I want to deliver. You know what I mean? It's funny.
yeah. Yeah, it's weird. You run into those a lot of times. I've been on offers, I've sold stuff myself where people just pay and disappear. And you think, yeah, that's the low ticket stuff. That doesn't happen when people pay 10 grand, 15 grand, but it happens then too. And it
Bro, I've
always
closed people
has you
on
wondering.
$40,000 deals and you never hear from them again. You call them up, you're like, hey, how's it going? You say they haven't used a single thing. Like, yeah, man, everything's great. You're like, awesome, cool. Yeah, just wanted to see how that product's going. Oh yeah, man, it's awesome, man. It's great. We love it. Cool. All right. See, you haven't
Well,
used it in a few months. You're like, yeah, it's no problem. I'm like, all right.
they're looking for tax write-offs, those ones.
Yeah,
That's why they
and
bought it.
honestly, that's the kind of buyer I am. When I buy something and um I don't use it, like it's no problem. Like, look, I got what I wanted. Some people they want to buy stuff just for one thing, and then once they use it, it's good. Like, for example, I paid a mentor. I paid Tanner Chitstetter. I paid him 2 grand for a one-on-one. Right, it was a 2 hour one-on-one in his house in his apartment or condo in Miami. Right. And I honestly, you get the course, you get this, you get coaching calls, you get blah, 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 community, all that access. I haven't logged into anything once. I don't need any of that stuff. The only reason why I paid him 2 grand, and I probably would have paid more, is to simply shake his hand. That's the only reason. I went in there. It was a 2 hour slot. We actually got down to business, and I asked him like 3 questions. Took about an hour, and I was like, "All right, cool, that's it." He's like, "That's it." It's like, "Yeah, bro, got everything." The last few minutes, we were just chatting it up. Bang, boom, create a relationship, good impression. I went on his podcast. He went on my podcast. Now I have a good relationship with him. But that's the kind of impact I want to make on people.
Okay.
You
What'd you
know,
ask him?
I asked him, let's see if I still have it here. I asked him about a few things. I asked him about hiring. Let's see here. Oh, man. Hold on. Questions. Man, dude, I think I might have deleted it. Um, I have questions for this guy so I did an event. This guy's name's Bob Duggan. I paid 2,500 to go to his event. This guy's worth like $80 billion. I sat front row. It was a private event. Like there's, maybe like 100 people there. I was the first person to buy a ticket. And I asked him 3 things. I said, what were the 3 things that kept you going after you already made 100 million? I said, what do you see as the biggest mistake when it comes to partnering up with people in business and in life? And this one was good. What were the differences in positioning yourself when you were scaling in the beginning? And how did you grow so fast and keep up with demand? Were there problems? And that's a guy that literally makes billions of dollars a year. And there's one thing that he said to me, two things he said to me. This guy, he's worth $80 billion, dollars, Bob Duggan, look him up. One of the richest persons in the world. I think he's like 96 or something in the world. He said two things. He said, one, it wasn't the first 100 million that, oh yeah, because I asked him a question. I was like, I said, man, what was it like when you hit a billion, man? Just tell me. What was the feeling? And he said, honestly, dude, it had nothing. Like really nothing. He said the first difference was when I made the million. Once I made a million, then I realized I can make 10 million, then 100 million, then a billion, and 10 billion, and so on. And that was a big game changer for me. The second thing he said was, he said, dude, if you want to build true wealth, it's not about the money. He said, you need to help people. And that really stuck with me. He said the way to build true wealth is through helping people. And he's saying not through selling stuff, not through, you know, closing people or servicing them or delivering on them. Like genuinely help people every way you can. He said, hold the door, have manners, no matter how much money you make. Like give the charity, give the donations, holds free events, give out free information. If somebody stops you and asks for help, be direct with him. Like, do not veer away from helping people because he said true wealth is in helping people. And that's a guy that's worth $80 billion. Dollars. So there's something there. And so that's my purpose, man. I want to help as many people as humanly possible. And whether I make a lot of money in the process or not, I know long term that everything will work out if I
Long
just give.
term, long term, where do you want to bring the recruiting company? What's kind of your some of your goals there?
So the first target is to take it to 10 million. The second target is to take it to 100. And within that, I want to start buying real estate. So I want to own multifamily complexes and start doing, larger deals that are, pretty big complexes, maybe like a couple hundred units per deal. And, basically three things: foundation to help kids. Second one is real estate. And the third one is scale the company up to a point, $10 million dollars plus, have it systematized and bring it to a point to sell at a really big multiple. Or if it's going so well that I can just shoot it to a moon, have that thing be my baby, and I'll just scale it to 100 million and just keep that thing till I die.
Do you
That's really
think
the big
that
two things. That's the three things.
do you think that you would have to stay like are you going to try to do that within the same vertical of just like placing reps, or do you see yourself expanding different industries or different kinds of services? Obviously, as you go, that'll become more clear, but what are your thoughts on that now?
Yeah, so right now I'm just making a name for salespeople. I know there's a large market for sales reps, like huge market for sales reps. So I'm attacking that industry hard. I want to be known as the sales rep person, right? So anybody that needs a sales rep, door to door, in person, remote, you name it, and then expand it out. I want to keep it tailored to the sales space. I think it's just there's just so much money in there, and that's what I'm really passionate about, is the sales side and start doing higher level stuff like executives, CEO work, CFO work, director of sales work, that sort of stuff. I'll dive into that later as this salesperson company grows. And I've already had some people hit me up like asking me for sales management, like for director of sales and stuff. And there's a huge market on there, man. In the recruiting space, it's a really great place because it's a very, very profitable business. But if you don't do it the right way, you can lose a lot of money fast.
100%.
You know,
Well,
great profit margins.
let's talk a little bit about kind of what you do on the recruiting side for the sales reps. Like when you're first of all, what kind of companies do you primarily work with right now?
Yeah, so my best clients are online service-based businesses. So like coaches, consultants, agency owners, marketing companies, SaaS companies, you name it. I also have a few clients that are in the home services space, so like solar companies, roofing companies, you name it. So I'm really doing both verticals right now. But The bottom line is any company that's doing $50,000 or more per month that can't handle enough sales calls or can't handle the sales calls that they have, I will be the one to help them out. And if they don't have the sales management in place, I will help them and guide them on the sales management so that way the salesperson can have good success with that company. So it's any business that is ethical, that is driven, that is 100% all in on their business and wants to actually grow their team in-house. I'm not a third party space where you pay me as an agency and I have a bunch of salespeople working underneath me. My company is straight up direct to hire fulfillment.
And when it comes to the sales reps, what do you look for when selecting a good rep?
Yeah, I look for so there's a few things. So number one, attitude. Number two, like, are they clean cut? Are they healthy? They fit? What's their background look like? Is it all messy in the back? If it's all messy in the back, you can only imagine what their entire house looks like. Um, and just a straightforward, ethical person. Um, and, there's also another saying that I like. It's that, your desk at your office is a direct representation of what your home looks like. So if you're working in an office and you see a sales rep or you see a person, it doesn't even matter who it is. It could be HR, it could be a freaking admin person. If you look at their desk and it's super messy, if their desk is messy at work, imagine how messy their home is, right? Because everything they do at work is everything that's going to happen in their life. So if their work is messy, their life is messy. If their life is messy, their work is messy. If their desk is messy, their whole entire home is messy. They probably got freaking dishes in the sink that they've been there for 5 days and they haven't freaking washed it, stuff in the fridge that's expired, right? A whole bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff you can really see who a real person is just based off of one conversation with them and looking at their background.
You mentioned you look if they're healthy, if they're fit. Talk more on that because that's a huge piece as well.
Yeah, dude, if you got a guy, no disrespect, but if he's like, I mean, if he's overweight, it's no problem. But like, there's overweight people that are still like healthy, you know? But if you can see the guy, he's got a messed up beard, he looks like he just woke up, hasn't showered in 3 days, but, he's like, yeah, man, I'm the best closer in the world. No bueno, dude. No good. You know, like health is a huge thing in the sales game, because you got to be on it, right? If you're not on it every single day, you're going to lose money. And so that's really my motto every day is like, dude, I need to be on my game 100% of the time because if I'm not, if I'm off one day, that could cost me $1 million down the road. You just never know who you're going to run into or who you're going to meet or who you're going to talk to. Or, if a client's going to call you at 9 p.m. on a Saturday, you want to be good to go to take that call because that's money on the phone. You got to get it. You got to get the deals done now. Can't wait.
And when it comes to uh kind of the application process and how reps can stand out in your pipeline, because I know you've probably got hundreds of people that are applying consistently every month and then thousands that are already in the pipeline just waiting to be placed somewhere. How can someone kind of stand out in that sea of applicants?
Well, you know, just like I said, right? Their attitude, how clean cut they are, how driven they are. Like I had a guy, his name's Darius. We got him on a roll. He started yesterday. Um, And this guy's an absolute stud, He was an athlete. He followed up, very sharp spoken, very clean cut, very professional, super stand-up dude. All you really have to do to be a great salesperson is just simply just do the right things. If you're doing the wrong things outside of the office, it'll trickle in inside the sales floor. Now, if you work like a normal job or like a desk job and you're like doing paperwork and admin and accounting and stuff, dude, you can do whatever you want because you're not affecting anybody, right? You're just doing simple work. No disrespect, but you get what I'm saying. If you're a salesperson, you're showing yourself on Zoom every day, you need to make sure you're on top of your game. And you have to be that person that would buy that sort of product. So, you know, um, I'm a little dressed down today, but like, the better you dress, the better you'll perform. And the better you take care of yourself, the better you'll perform. Every single time, man. Every single time I wear great clothes, I just get more deals, man. I get paid. I get more stuff done because I feel good, you know? I don't need to be in like gym shorts and a normal, gym t-shirt, right? How am I going to close a $50,000 deal if I'm looking like I just went to the gym? You just don't take yourself seriously. And so that's always what I look out for.
Okay, so you look out for people that are looking good, good energy, confident, healthy, clean cut. And when you say you look for that, is that in the 1 minute video? Do you have everyone send a headshot? Where do you see that stuff?
Dude, you could just tell it right in their face, dude. Like
But I'm
you can
sure, you're not giving do you guys give everyone that ever applies an interview immediately, or do
we
you
do
kind
we do a
of
two-step
disqualify
process. We do
some?
a phone call. We can hear it over the phone. Guy sounds like he just woke up out of bed. He's not excited. Immediately off the list, right? We don't even have to see the person. We can just tell based off this tone of his voice and how sharp he is. Say, hey man, what'd you do in your last offer? How well did you perform? And they're like, yeah, well, my offer, yeah, dude, cut it. Not it. Not it. Sorry, bro. We're out. Yeah, we're out. We're done. If they get past the second interview process, then we have a Zoom call with them. We measure them on how fast they answer questions, right? How direct they are. Like you and I are talking right now. I'm very direct when I talk, right? Some people they just can't do that, and it's not our job to train them on how to be a good salesperson, right? My job as the recruiter to get the best salespeople in the company. So if you're a bad salesperson, like it is what it is. I mean, we had a complaint from a sales guy. It was like, yeah, we thought that email that you sent was rude, that you declined the, the salesperson. The salesperson was unhappy. I'm like, dude, he just sucked. Like, what do you want to do? You want to give him like a cake, cookies? Like, you want to like give him like a spa day? Like, you know, like, bro, this is not the business of emotions. This is not a therapy session, dude. We're here to get stuff done. We're here to get deals and some business going, So it's a very cutthroat world. But the people that make it out successful are the ones that stick in it the most and can handle the most rejection. And if he gets offended off an email, dude, he ain't the right fit anyways. That guy's a freaking lost cause.
100%. I remember I saw I can't remember where I saw it from, but it was saying one of the most important traits for a salesperson to have is thick skin, be able to handle rejection, because that's what you're handling majority of the day, unless you're especially on the calls, especially unless you're closing 60, 70%. Most of the time, by nature of the business, you're going to be handling tons and tons of rejection.
Yeah, man, you have to, dude. Like you have to just become an absolute monster in what you're doing. If you don't commit to it 100%, you will not win. And that's the only reason why I'm able to stay in business, and do what I'm doing right now is because, my persistence is just on a whole nother level. Like when people get on the phone with me, they're just like, dude, you're freaking a maniac. And I'm like, I agree, I am. And that's why it'll work so well. It's because I will literally make things go right no matter what.
Okay. And
And
you'd
that's
say
really what it
that's
takes,
the
man.
yeah, I was about to ask, you'd say that's the mindset that salespeople need to have these days.
Dude, it is, bro. Like, dude, if you're thinking about quitting, don't even start. Just go get a job and like be a forklift driver. Like, you know, it's true, you know? Um, it's a tough world, but like what we were saying, man, the people that make it out the best, like, if there's any salespeople watching this, bro, all it takes is just an unreasonable desire to win. And if you get upset because a client said no, you either do two things. You either one, just snap out of your ego and realize that you're not the most important person in this world, or two, you just quit and be average. That's it. Those are the only two things. You either be average, hate your life, be one of those guys that said, man, back in my day, or you freaking make something out of your life. Those are the only two things, truly.
And that's the persistence that got you on Grant Cardone's team, right? You didn't quit, you didn't give up,
Yeah,
you just
dude.
made it work.
Yeah, dude. I just made it work, dude. I just didn't give up, man. I had such a desire to win, and then once I got the job, I was like, bro, there's no way there's literally no possible way that I'm ever going to mess up this opportunity. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Plus, it's cool to like get hired, but
Mhm.
to actually perform is a whole nother thing. Anybody can get hired on a job, but performing for a long period of time consistently improving, that's a whole nother challenge in itself. And that's where salespeople fail is they think they do good for 1 month, so they let off the gas and they don't think they need to do harder. And that's when they fail and that's when they quit, is right then and there. You
100%.
know what
That's
I
what's
mean?
important. It's the consistency.
That's all it is, bro. Just a unreasonable desire to literally just I'm a freaking maniac when it comes to sales, dude. I love sales with a burning passion. You just got to be a maniac in working deals.
Well,
That's it.
dude,
I'm a volume
that's
guy.
that's solid advice, man. That's solid advice, and especially needed in this day and age where we've got a lot of small companies coming in the space, a lot of new reps coming in the space, and there's not as many. I mean, there's just not enough 7, 8 figure companies around. So you're going to need guys that are willing to put in the work and really grow with some of these solopreneurs and make stuff happen. And you kind of need that level of persistence to make something like that work out. I want to ask you any final pieces of advice that you have for a lot of these newer reps with no experience, maybe even reps coming from like not outside of the US, people that are just struggling to land offers because they don't have the track record. What would you say to them?
Yeah, dude, if you want to own a business someday, your business that you own will be a direct reflection of how well you perform in your sales job. So if you don't give it your all in your sales role that you're in, expect to fail in business. You won't make it. But if you give your sales job, your sales role that you're in, you give it 100%, you go hard for 18 months, dude. 18 months. You go hard for 18 months, your entire life will change forever. It's all it takes is 18 months, then boom, you crack the freaking code, you're set. But it's that first 18 months, dude. The 18 months will change everything, dude. But if you want to be a business owner and you're watching this and you're like, working a normal job, I get it. I've been there too. I've been on unemployment. I've I've been homeless for not crazy. I've been homeless for like one day, you know, got kicked out of my parents' house when I was a kid. I'm 27 years old now. But like if you want to get great at anything, get great at sales first, learn sales, study it, become a master at it, make a shit ton of money in the role that you're in now. And then if you want to start your business, just know that you mastered the game of sales first. Because once you master sales, you can really handle anything you want in your life. You'll never run out of money. But you have to get good at the role you're in first. Don't do it for just for a month just to freaking do it, dude. Freaking lock in and get it done. And think long term, man. Think 5 years from now. Don't think 2 months from now. Think 5 years. Okay, I'm going to work at this job for 3 years and then I'm going to make my exit plan. And that way, every day they have that long term goal of like what they want to do.
Awesome advice, man.
And that's how they
Awesome
stick.
advice. Where can people find you, man? Where can people follow your journey? Where can people hit you up if they want to, hire a sales rep? Where can reps connect with you to get in your pipeline? What do you got?
Yeah. So just shoot me a message on Instagram. It's my first and last name, Chris Dietz, CEO. That's my Instagram. My company is Find Me Staffing Solutions. You can find me at findmestaffing.net. If you're a business owner, you can watch my video there. I break down exactly what I do. If you'd like to, you could book a call with me. And look, man, like my job is to serve people, right? So my job is to get anything and everything, and no matter what it is, done for you, whether you're a salesperson, you're a business owner, you're starting business, whatever you need help out with. I'd love to just connect, get out there, introduce myself, and whether it's right now or whether it's 6 months from now, I'd still love to just connect with people that are watching this, and get to know you guys a little bit more. But yeah, dude, it's a great game out here, man. It's a great game. It's a great game.
Awesome, man. Well, it's good having you. We'll definitely have you back sometime in the future. You've also got a podcast of your own. You've had a bunch of awesome guests on there, so you could probably find that on your Instagram as well. I think if they
Yep.
click your profile and bio, they'll find the staffing podcast and everything like that. So definitely go and watch some of those episodes if you're looking at this. Glad to have you, Chris. I think we'll wrap it up there, man.
Bro, thank you.